How to wash a black car.
Hi,
I'm Nick.
This is DIY Detail. We have this beautiful black Porsche in here. It looks to be really in good shape, but someone waxed it, and let's just say they were a little overabundant on the wax application and they didn't wipe it all off. We have a lot of spots on it that have wax residue.
On camera, a car like this probably looks really clean. Whether you have bug guts, whether you have extra wax residue, whether you're just trying to deeply clean your vehicle, black paint is the same as white paint, is the same as orange paint. However, if you have black paint out there, or you've heard that black paint is so difficult to clean, we're gonna start to educate you, show you what we see and how we deal with it, Ivan.
Yes.
Should they be worried about a black vehicle and washing it differently?
Not at all. I've had about 40 black cars in my life, and I'm sort of used to washing a black paint.
Well, maybe you should take the lead then.
There we go.
What I know, what should I know, and what do we have here to get ready for this wash?
Well, first of all, Porsche wheels are known for the amount of brake dust they exude.
Commensurate to the amount of fun it is to drive these, right?
Right.
Quickly and
So we're going to start with an iron remover on the wheels because I know these cars put out a lot of dust.
Why is that? Why do they put out a lot of dust?
High performance brakes, and look at the color change, Nick. It's a little immediate.
Okay, so what's happening when things go purple that fast?
That is a good amount of brake dust.
Wow.
On the surface. Now, Nick, if you want to take the all clean.
Yep.
Diluted 15-to-1 with just a touch of Incredible Suds.
And what the All Clean is actually going to do is give our iron remover more dwell time so it's not drying up on us.
Yeah.
That's a little excessive in the product department, but All Clean is kind of our superpower all-purpose cleaner. It's a non-caustic cleaner, Ivan LaCroix, but it is powerful. It's more powerful than our Incredible Suds wash soap or our rinseless wash. Why put All Clean on a wheel?
Because we want to clean the wheel as deeply as possible. These look like relatively well-maintained wheels, but at the same time, we can see they haven't been cleaned in maybe a couple weeks.
Leveraging this dwell time.
Yeah.
How is that important if folks don't quite understand that, hey, dwell time actually is gonna do a lot of the work for me?
Right, dwell time is an important part of cleaning. We want time. We want the chemicals to do the job for us. We don't want to start scrubbing on this wheel. That's the last thing you want to do. You have all that abrasive brake dust sitting there, ready to scratch your wheel. What we've done is we've applied the chemicals, we're letting them dwell, then we're gonna rinse away the chemicals and that brake dust, making it a lot safer to clean the wheel.
When we actually touch it, there won't be all that stuff that would be driving into the surface as we're cleaning.
Right. Want to make sure your wheels are not hot when you're doing this.
When Ivan hands me the IK foamer, things get a little out of hand. You don't have to use this much product, Ivan, but it is fun, and I know it's going to be effective for us.
Yes.
Sometimes we focus just on the face of the wheels, but in this case, it's a beautiful Porsche. We talked about the high performance brakes, all of that iron remover, getting that purple activation. I really focus on getting in the barrels more than I usually do.
Right.
I wanted to smother the calipers and the snow foam of our Incredible Suds.
Speaking of which, can you turn the pressure washer on?
Yes, I can.
Make sure our foam is mixed up, and let's foam the vehicle.
So when you're washing black paint, is it important to work one section at a time, to do the whole vehicle?
Depends on the temperature, Nick. If you're outside in direct sunlight, you'll want to do it section by section and probably use rinseless wash. If it's a nice cool day, you're in the shade, foam away. What's coming off the wheels is really nice looking.
Foam is really nice looking, Ivan. We've got purple, we've got white. It's just a nice kind of tapestry of colors, and then we have the black paint underneath. Using foam is very rewarding to the human eye, Ivan.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on it? Do you need to foam your car up, or could you just put some rinseless wash on there, which is our, I would talk about the high performance brakes, all of that iron remover, getting that purple activation. I really focus on getting in the barrels more than I usually do. Right. When non-foaming car wash soap. It foams a little bit, but
Right.
I guess the question is, I'm thinking of the beginner out there, they may not even know what rinseless wash is. Like, is this the only way to wash your car?
No, foam is not a necessity. Foam is fun. In this case, we use the foam to show you. It's a nice contrast on a black paint. We want to let the foam dwell, ideally not dry. If it dries on the surface, that's actually not a big deal. It will rinse away cleanly. But we don't want to force that issue as well. And now that it's dwelled, most of it has gone off the surface, time to rinse it away. Always start with your tip on the floor, not on the car, because it can fly away on you.
Ivan, we have a purple-brown river here, and white. It's a creamsicle tributary.
Right.
So what does that mean? What is it telling us?
That means those wheels were very dirty, and now if you look at them, they almost look clean.
I was gonna say, as you were rinsing, you may not have done this at home, really considered your methodology as you rinse.
Right.
You can tell a lot about someone and their level of experience by how they rinse a car. If you want to really detail like a pro, you got to get your rinse game down. I notice
Yes.
you have a system as you do it. You'll get the water off eventually. It's not rocket science no matter what you do. But if you're systematic with it, it's kind of nice. You just get the section done, you move on. Like, what is your thought process as you rinse a car?
Every car is different, but if you're an enthusiast at home and you're only washing your own cars, it gets really, really fast and easy.
Yep.
But it's getting the soap off, not having to go back over a section and working section by section, so you're not doing this. I see people running back and forth the length of their car, going from the top down. I like to do a section and move on, and that is it. You'll develop a process, you'll develop a way. And one way you can do it, whether you're a professional or a hobbyist, is take your camera and record yourself detailing the vehicle. You will see where you may be losing time or efficiency and where you can gain more fun too.
And maybe you could then get inspired to make YouTube videos about it and share it part of your journey. And that's also been a really fun part of detailing. So
it sure is.
There's all kinds of things you can do with detailing, but just enjoying the process. It's better, I find, when it goes faster and it's less work. I don't hate work. I actually like working hard, but I don't want my daily or my weekly wash to be difficult. I want it to be as streamlined as possible. That's gonna make me want to do it more. It's a behavioral snowball of like, if you have a traumatic experience with it and it takes you 2 hours when it could take you, 30 minutes,
Yep.
you may not show up next week to wash the car and then the paint's gonna suffer.
Exactly. Now, you'll notice my hose was here. I wound the hose around the car and I'm rewinding backwards.
A little bit of a thinner foam today. You can tell Ivan mixed up the foam cannon. All you really need is 32-to-1. I have seen 32-to-1 in different foam cannon pressure washer setups foam more than this. Talk about whether you need thick foam, whether you don't, Ivan. It could depend on your pressure washer, your foam cannon. A lot of different things are variables, but like if you're worried that you're not doing it good enough, is just getting it on there kind of the goal? I mean, there's a lot to talk about, Ivan.
Yeah, the super shaving cream thick like foam is fun to watch. It doesn't make your wash process better, faster, easier, and it doesn't clean any better. But what it does do is it looks really cool.
Now, you're about to do something wild, I can tell. Are we doing wheels now?
I want to let this dwell a little longer on the wheels. The body of the car isn't that dirty.
Would it be crazy to do a little iron remover on the wheels again?
Go for it.
All right.
I know you like the smell of it, so.
Well, I just want to deliver excellent results, Ivan. I'm always about using more product, which is not always the same as excellent results. But if you see the purple, maybe you feel like you're doing something. Anyway, you got a brush on a nice portrait. What's going on?
Well, two myths in one here, Nick. First of all, I'm sure someone has already typed in the comments. And speaking of which, please, if you have any questions or comments, write them down below. If you're not subscribed, now is a really good time to do it. But someone has probably written in the comments when we mentioned the wax, use Dawn dish soap. Dawn dish soap or other dish soaps have never removed a wax from a vehicle. What they do is they have a product in it that makes the water sheet on the surface, making it look like there's no wax left. Secondly, don't use a brush on a car. I agree with you. Don't use any brush on a car. But a brush that's specifically engineered and designed to be safe on paint, you can use. Our perfectly safe brush is that brush.
And we just get the pressure washer into the bucket. A little volcano there for fun. And go ahead and wash. All right, I'm just gonna walk it on back here.
One of the reasons this brush is so safe can be seen here. It's a flag tip nylon brush, and we have 3/4 inch flagging. We also have very densely packed bristles, which means even if it folds over, you're always having the flagging touching the vehicle, not the sides of the bristles.
Ivan, you wash a section, you flip your wash media, you wash that panel, and then you put your wash mitt or your brush back in the bucket, correct?
Right. Now for me, I start at the top of a panel, go all the way down to the bottom, then redunk my brush. Because of the foam rinse foam, so we foamed it, we rinsed it, we foamed again, we no longer have grit on the surface. I'm not concerned about my brush picking up grit. But we are taking away that traffic film. And you know, one thing, people look at the size of the brush and go, yes, but it's gonna be inconvenient, it's not gonna get anywhere. Notice how I'm doing the rocker panel quite easily, but also because of the long, flexible bristles, I can get in behind door handles easier than Nick can get in there with a mitt. Always dunk for safety.
And when I've got this incredible wash mitt in my hands and incredible suds on the surface, I just put this on the paint and it just glides. It feels like it does the cleaning for me, Ivan.
Same here, the brush, no pressure on the brush whatsoever. Just glide it across the surface. It's doing its job.
Dunking back in after I've done 2 panels. Nice and sopping and soapy. We like that with incredible suds. With the rinseless wash, you want your legacy wash sponge on the verge of dripping, Ivan. With incredible suds, the more soap, the merrier.
With the brush, it's easy to get into the grill here, around these lights. Now, before we get to the wheels, I'm gonna do a little bit of housekeeping. And also, one thing about this brush, a lot of people go, oh, but if I put the brush in the wash bucket, it's gonna flip out. We've made it so it's very easy to adjust. Now it's not gonna go anywhere. You see us squeegeeing a lot on the channel because our drain situation is a little irregular. We have a great drain. It's got a triple trap to trap all the grease, oils, etc. But there's also a speed bump preventing the water from getting there. And it's not because we don't like wet feet, which we don't, but also it's a slip risk to have nice sudsy soap and water on concrete. So we want to make sure that when we're walking around the vehicle, we're not slipping.
Makes sense to me, Ivan.
Because seeing a slip on camera might be funny, but it could hurt us. In our wheel bucket, I actually have rinseless wash. That's the last vehicle we did. The wheel bucket wasn't that dirty, so we kept that in there. I'm doing the face of the wheel first. There's a very, very good reason for that. We know there's a lot of brake dust hiding in these wheelbarrows. We've rinsed a lot of it away, but there could still be a little bit of grit there. I don't want to bring that grit out from behind onto the surface of the wheel and then start brushing it. I want to brush first, get that wheel face all nice and clean. Then, when I brush the barrels, if I'm taking something out of it, I'm going to be rinsing it away, not driving it into the paint of the wheel with another brush. Let's just see how dirty this wheel is. It's pretty dirty. Now, I rotated my brush, go in for a second side, dunk in the water, pulls out clean. I started at the top, and I always start at the top on the other side as well, working my way down, so I'm rinsing the dirt down the side of the barrel. Another thing that's really nice about this Tampico fiber brush is when I pull it out of the barrel, I'm not wearing what was in the barrel.
So, Ivan, on my side here, the valve stem is conveniently at midnight.
Okay.
But I just create this as my midnight no matter what. So wherever the valve stem is, I'll hit the wheel and body brush there.
Yep.
And then I'll work my way clockwise around. I just need to give myself a message. Okay, start here, end there. But if I were to forget, it's just easy to start at the valve stem, end at the valve stem. Whatever system you devise that works for you, that helps you kind of waste less time and be more methodical, I highly encourage it. Again, it's kind of like the rinsing. You can get the job done in twice as amount of time and it's still going to be a good result. It just kind of feels more, I don't know, like you're making progress, like you're getting better at the craft when you, for better or worse, at least think about how am I going to be doing this in a more methodical way. Right. You don't have to be perfect, Ivan. You've been doing this for more than 40 years. But it does feel nice to always feel like you're progressing, getting better, working a system. At least it does for me. So like, I've been kind of listening to Ivan talk about wheelbarrows. And I know with this barrel brush, before I used to just hit this dirty side and go back in. Okay, I'm learning every day, right? As detailed as I learn every day. That's my dirty side. Now I'm gonna take my clean side of this Tampico brush, work it into the barrels, which again, it's just a barrel, right? Whoever even sees it, why do you care about reintroducing dirt? Because I'm trying to do this the right way. I really do this, guys. I want to do a good job. So now my wheel barrel brush is clean in my wash bucket, and I'm using that fresh side there. And then I've heard Ivan say he likes to work top to down on one side, then top down on the other side. I'm like, okay, I'll try that out. I couldn't remember what side was dirty there. I'm going to redunk. If your methodology is not perfect, always just err on the side of safety. Like, did I use that side yet? Just redunk, no big deal. So I can tell that's dirty. I'm not gonna put that side on the barrel. I'll do my clean side there. And it makes sense, you go from top to bottom on one side, top to bottom on the other side. Whatever's in that barrel is gonna run down anyway. And then another tip, if you don't want any splashback, instead of just yanking this brush out, slowly get it out sideways, and that way you won't get any cling back. And I can't remember if I did this already, so I'm on camera. I kind of lose track of what I've said, what I've done. And there you go. Got a clean wheel and had a good time doing it.
Now, you'll notice that the soap is almost dry on the surface because we washed the car. We're filming, sometimes we have to do a double take. It takes a little longer, meaning that we've had time for most of the soap to dry on the surface. I could refoam it at this point to give us lubrication for the decontamination towel, but I'm actually going to spray rinseless on. That way we have a little less water, a little less foam, and at the same time, it's going to give us the lubrication we need.
I was going to ask, why do that? Is it just to do it? And it's like, no, we want a base of lubrication. You don't want to have to deal with the sloppiness of all that foam. So there is a reason why you might adjust on the fly if you had rinseless already mixed up as a professional detailer, right?
Right. So I've got just a little bit of rinseless here. Again, we're not trying to douse the car with it. We're just getting a little bit on the surface to act as lubrication.
So we've mentioned rinseless wash throughout this video. This is the first time you're seeing it. You've just got this super easy to use garden sprayer with a battery compressor in the handle. It just makes it really easy for plug and play. Like, how important would you say is it to just have things in your garage that are ready to go, that don't make everything so prohibitive? Like, I have to now dilute my rinseless wash and then put the inflator in and get it. I don't know, I just tell people at home, the more ready to plug and play everything is in your garage, the easier it's going to be for you to do this.
Done with the brush. Never put the brush on the ground. Always rest it head up against the wall. If you have a nice hook or something, you can do that too. There, it's safe. Now we have rinseless on the surface. I have incredible suds in the wash bucket, and we have some incredible suds on the surface. Not a big deal. They will play nice together.
Promise?
Promise.
Okay.
Next, iron remover. One spray on the towel, one spray on the paint, and that is going to allow me to decontaminate this surface. It's not too contaminated, but I can feel a little bit under the towel, and I just keep going. No pressure until I don't feel or hear that contamination anymore.
Yeah, you'll get a real sense during this step of what's happening on the paint.
Yeah.
It feels very smooth to me, and I feel like, okay, we're in good hands. It's been well maintained.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it's just loaded with contaminants. How important is it to decontaminate paint? Like, why are we even doing this?
We're doing it for a couple reasons. Very important to decontaminate occasionally, every 3 to 6 months, or when you feel that your paint is starting to be contaminated. But the other thing is we will be polishing this vehicle in a future video. Before polishing, you always want the cleanest, most decontaminated paint you can get. Now, I've used 2 quadrants of my towel. I'll fold it to the other 2 and carry on. 1 spray there, 1 spray there, match them up, and off we go.
And I've done 4 panels already. I'm actually gonna redunk my quad fold towel into my wash bucket with incredible suds. We're not cross-contaminating with suds and rinseless, not a big deal. Just always focus on, do I have enough lubrication? That's gonna keep you from marring up your paint. People are used to hearing clay.
Yeah.
Is this like a clay bar, Ivan? Some folks may wonder that.
Right, so a clay bar is an abrasive. This is a synthetic decontamination surface. It's perforated. Let me give you a little up close and personal look at it. So all these little perforations do a couple things for us. If you were to have large grit, which at this point we don't on the vehicle, they will lodge in those perforations. Secondly, this synthetic surface is quite soft. Any material that we're taking off the vehicle will lodge into it. And at this point, the contamination is so small, we don't feel it and we don't see it. It is that small. But this is soft enough that it's not going to allow it to scratch the vehicle. Then, when I put this in my wash bucket, it releases all that contamination that it took off the vehicle, refreshing the surface. I fold it, and you notice I'm leaving it nice and wet. The reason for leaving it wet is we want that lubrication. And if for some reason I slip, I put a little too much pressure on it, what's going to happen is, if I put pressure, it's going to release more lubrication on the surface. And speaking of lubrication, our iron remover is designed specifically for this purpose. Not every iron remover on the market can or should be used as a clay lube. Ours can and should be used this way, because you use a lot less. There's a lot of iron removers on the market where they take this and they spray it all over the car. Looks great, especially if you have a white car. You see all these purple and reddish streaks, but unfortunately, that's very expensive.
My heart is always with the detailer out there. They spent their hard-earned money with us. Maybe they got some incredible suds, some rinseless wash, the decon towel, maybe some all clean. And then they ask us, well, can I use another brand's iron remover with your decon towel? And I don't want to be like, nope, you have to use ours, or you need to buy, more product. Like, I want to tell them, yeah, use whatever you got out there. But what is your official answer to those folks? I don't want to make them spend more money with us if they don't have our iron remover, but I also don't want them to do something unsafe,
Yeah, test it on a panel that you're not too concerned about.
And what should they look for? How do they know how to test if maybe they're not Ivan LaCroix and they don't know what to look for?
If the towel gets sticky, stop. That's about it.
So it's more about the towel than even like a careful analyzation of the paint?
Well, the paint as well, but if you see the paint being scratched, definitely stop.
Right. But paint being sticky is a good indicator that something's a little bit off.
Yeah. Time to rinse it off, Nick. Iron remover is one of those products that you need to rinse off.
Yeah, this is not just a spray and then wipe and call it a day. If you were to just wipe iron remover in, what would that do?
The next time it rains, it will reactivate the iron remover that's in the cracks and crevices. So, off we go. We've rinsed, but we're not done the decontamination process. There is one last step in decontamination that is very important and often overlooked. That is water spot remover.
We call this the mineral cleanse.
Exactly. What we're doing, there's no water spots on this Porsche, but what we're doing is making sure that there's no embedded minerals as well.
So how are we doing that?
Well, embedded minerals, you don't see them, you don't feel them, the decontamination towel doesn't remove them, the iron remover doesn't remove them, washing doesn't remove them. Water spot remover does remove them. And it's going to make our polishing easier, it's going to brighten up the paint, it's going to make sure that there's nothing in the paint that can impede a perfect finish.
I'm even spraying the wheels, Ivan. Am I losing my mind?
No, spraying the wheels is a good thing, especially a winter-driven car.
Now, with water spot remover, how much should I expect to use on a vehicle? Because I'm going a little excessive here, but I just want to make sure we're doing this right. That I'm going to get that water spot remover on there in every pore of the paint, of the glass, of the wheels to get to work.
Right, half an ounce or so, or an ounce. Here's a towel for you. We'll put it in our wash buckets. And we want to agitate and spread the water spot remover over the surface, but we don't want to do it with a wet towel. We want to do it with a damp towel.
Almost lightly damp for the people out there. Emphasize the lightly part of it.
Squeeze it out as much as you can. When you think you've wrung it all out, wring it out again.
Can you do that wrong if it's a little bit extra damp? Am I messing it up? Is the water spot remover not going to work?
It's going to work, but not as effectively. The goal here is to safely spread the water spot remover, not remove it from the surface.
And part of that not removing it is not switching the side of your towel. So if you get water spot remover on the towel, keep working that in. Not with pressure, there's no work. Just think of it as filling in the lines, right? We're coloring within the lines.
Right.
Could be kind of meditative, this part, just focusing on getting my towel everywhere, not flipping it, just painting the whole car with my towel.
Now, hopefully with the combination of chemicals and agitation, we have removed a lot of that nasty wax residue. But don't count on chemicals to remove waxes. If you're going to be coating a vehicle and you know it's been waxed or sealed or coated before, you need to polish. Why? To actually remove it. Because chemicals, they may make you think you removed it, like dish soap, but no, it doesn't remove any waxes.
Boy, I'm just so tempted to want to flip this towel out.
Yeah.
Why should I not?
Because we're spreading the water spot remover and we know that the surface is clean. We know that it's been washed, it's been decontaminated. We've had foam, we've had rinseless, we've had everything on here. We just want to make sure the water spot remover gets everywhere.
Or even working it into the glass, huh?
Yep.
Sometimes I don't work it into the wheels. How do you feel about that?
You can or can't, it's up to you. But ideally, if you put it on the wheels, you should rub it in as well.
So what happens if you just do the method where you spray water spot remover on the paint, you've washed, you've used iron remover in the decon towel, you've rinsed, you've got clean paint, you just spray some water spot remover, maybe you douse it. You're convinced you've hit every square inch of the vehicle, you give it dwell time and you rinse off. Surely that's a good decon, right? A good mineral cleanse?
You're halfway there. The agitation is part of it, Nick. Remember, those minerals are embedded in the paint. They're stuck there. No washing has removed them. Yes, you've got a very strong chemical here that does a great job, but at the same time, you want to make sure that the chemical you've put on is doing the maximum that it can. This little agitation is that maximum.
Well, then I'm doing the wheels.
From there, you do not put this back in your wash bucket. We'll wring it out, rinse it, let it dry, and then launder with the rest of the towels.
One more rinse, Ivan.
Last rinse, and the water spot remover, it's actually dried on the surface in areas, not a big deal. It will reactivate with the water.
It's almost like the water beads after water spot remover. They look excited. They're just ready to jump and dance on the paint. They're splashing away from the paint. I don't know, water beads make me feel like things are progressing.
They are, and this shows that now the paint is nicely decontaminated because paint by itself naturally wants to bead. Now you'll notice I stretched out our pressure washer hose. There's a reason for that. It makes it a lot easier to wind up. Now in our shop, we've got a 3/8 hose. If it were up to me, it would be a 1/4 inch hose. 3/8 is just a little ornery. Starting to dry the car, you'll see how easy it's drying. That's because it's nice clean paint. There's no contamination on it. We're not using a drying aid simply because we will be polishing and coating this in another video. You don't want to introduce any sealants or waxes or anything like that when you're going to be coating afterwards.
Rinseless wash is its own drying aid. Yeah, which is something if you were really worried that it had totally dried on you, I don't want to mess with black paint, I'm concerned. Just a nice garden sprayer or keg or spray bottle of your diluted rinseless wash is a perfectly fine lubricant if that's a concern, right, Evan?
Yeah, 100%. Now, we mentioned that wax residue in the beginning. There's still a lot on the surface.
Really?
Yeah, despite the chemicals that we used, there's still a lot of wax. Wax is not removed by chemicals. That is something it's a myth that's been going around the industry for way too long. This is a black car. That wax residue, we don't know when it was waxed. It could have been baked on for months. Holding onto my towel, making sure it doesn't, or making sure it can't reach the ground.
So you kind of anchor it, right? So like if I'm going to be working this lower section, I'm going to anchor it somehow so that even if I slip with my left hand, right hand won't let it go anywhere. I'm going real slow-mo. I haven't been doing it real time, but that's the basic principle, right? Just start with, or always rely upon the safe place that you feel like, hey, I'm not losing control. I'm staying safe, right? Exactly. I'm going to work this so I can't hit my wheel. I might go slow, but I paid a decent amount for this towel, so I'm going to take care of it. So don't feel like you have to be as efficient as Ivan. If you need to work slowly to make sure it's safe, I'm going to give you the green light and just say, you know what? Always err on the side of safety.
100%.
Now, we know how to fix things. When you've been doing this long enough, you know how to really fix most whoopsies, but we want to not have the whoopsies, right, Evan?
Yeah, it's better to avoid them than to fix them.
100%.
So looking at this paint, now that we've decontaminated it, it's still looking good. There's a couple areas that have been repainted, this front fender being one of them, and actually the hood, but we'll be polishing this up, getting it nice and clean, and coating it, but that's in another video. Speaking of other videos, Nick, is there one they should be watching? Probably about another Porsche that we washed with a brush.
I was thinking Porsche for sure. That video, it's right here.